Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of the Dynamic Minds podcast. I'm James.
I'm Wyatt.
And today we have a special guest today, Travis Boyd with Boyd Home Remodeling LLC.
Hello.
Welcome him.
Thank you.
Welcome, Travis.
Well, thank you for having me.
Welcome. Okay, so today, of course, we got Travis Boyd here. We're going to be talking all about general contracting today, and we're going to be going over a lot of very popular questions that a lot of people, at least that I get from an agent's perspective, as far as how general contractors benefit the economy and how clientele use or how they can use general contractors' businesses and such. So
Travis, tell us a little about yourself. What do you do as a general contractor? What do you specialize? All that type of stuff.
Yeah, define that for us. What are we looking at?
Well, I'd say the general definition of a general contractor would be someone who has the capability to do or knows the people that can do essentially any project that you would need done within your house. But generally, a general contractor has a specific trade, that that's their thing. But because a lot of projects require a lot of different trades to come in and work together, general contractors make it so much easier on the homeowner because they have these connections and these relationships with, subcontractors, specialized trades, electricians, plumbers, carpenters, drywallers, painters, and they can pretty much assemble a team. And that's what their service is you don't have to find, as a homeowner, if you want to have a basement finished, you don't have to find a framer. You don't have to then find an electrician, find a plumber, find a drywaller. You don't have to find all those guys. You hire a general contractor, and they get it all for you.
Right.
That's what they do. So that's
all
what
in
we
one
do.
special, really.
Yeah, it's all in one. And not only does I think it end up being about the same cost. If you were to be your own general contractor on a project, the cost would end up being about the same because, if you hire each of these contractors individually, they're giving you that market rate. Whereas if you're dealing with a contractor that is established, he has dealt with the same subcontractors over and over. A lot of times those subcontractors, they know because of the consistency that the general contractor provides them, their prices are generally a little lower to keep that relationship going. And so whatever a general contractor adds on to that, balances out. The perk of that is you don't have to deal with 5 different contractors. You deal with one guy, and he gets the entire job done. And because he has a team, it gets done faster as well.
Right. Okay.
Like, for example, Boyd Home Remodeling, we're carpenters. We, a lot of times, depending on the size of job, we do the electric, we do the flooring, we do the drywall, we do a lot of the plumbing. Plumbing is one of those things that I've tried to sub out more often than the other trades, but as the jobs get bigger, I do sub out a lot more stuff.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, like I said, every general contractor has a trade that they're comfortable with, but a lot of times can do other stuff. But it really varies from job to job.
Right. So it's the general contractor's job to have those connections, those referrals to make sure that the entire job gets done. So if you're looking to remodel a kitchen, maybe somebody wants to move a sink, right? Well, you got people who are responsible for, getting the cabinets and, putting them in, and then you might have to subcontract out a plumber who might come in and rerun the plumbing and put the sink in a new location, or
and who's going to put the floor back after all that's done?
Exactly.
Who's going to patch drywall? You
Travis is the best plumber I know.
Yeah, yeah. I'm actually a plumber by day, commercially, but I hate plumbing.
Yeah.
So do I.
Like I said, that was funny because that's the one trade that if I have to sub one thing out on a job, I sub it out.
He does it as his day job all day.
Yeah.
Little backstory here. Me and Travis worked together for quite a long time. Yeah. Commercial plumbing until I recently quit. But we did that for quite a long time together. Yeah. It was fun times.
It was fun times. And commercial is fun. I would never want to branch out and do general contracting commercially. At least right now, it's so big. The scale is just so much larger on commercial work that I just maybe someday, but I envy the gusto of these companies that do commercial work because they have so much on the line. They have hundreds of employees.
Yeah.
They have all of this insurance to cover for that many employees. They have all these costs, and they have to get it right. But they pass the cost along to the customers. I see some of these tickets for commercial jobs, and I'm like, well, that's why you are able to finish this job, pay your people, and do the next one, because there's just so much big money. I like residential because you're able to really sit down. It's very intimate. Every job is just so individual that you can do everything you can to save the customer money, still make your own profit, and still make your living, but you're not just hyperinflating these job prices like commercial jobs are. So that's why I like residential. Plus, you're dealing with a person in their house with a project that they are trying to do for their equity.
Right.
And you can be a part of that, and you can help them have a better house.
Well, I think it's so funny that you bring that up, because I do want to ask you a question, at least just from my perspective, our perspective as real estate agents. I mean, we get a lot of questions. We get a lot of sellers that reach out, and they'll ask, like, hey, I bought my home just this past year, right? And obviously within that year, it might not have a ton of time. Talking about the property, might not have had a ton of time, depending on the area, to properly appreciate and value, or they might not get the amount of money that they're looking for. So really the question that they ask me is like, oh man, well, I want to spruce my house up. I want to make it look as good as possible in order to get the most return out of my equity, out of my investment. So they ask me, they say, what should I do to my house in order to make sure that I get the most money out of when I sell? Does that make sense?
Your investment.
Right. So
what do you think is the best choice to spend money on to get your return on investment?
Well, real quick, before we touch on that, like, again, I want to go back to like what the sellers tell me, because they're telling me like, oh, I want to do complete remodel. I want to do complete remodel. I want to remodel the kitchen. I want to make sure that, it looks as nice as possible. I want to strip the roof off. I want to put a metal roof on. And a lot of that adds up, like $10,000 to $15,000 to put a new roof on, depending on the size of the roof, right? So our question to you is what is it that our clientele can do to get the most return out of their selling price? What do you think?
If you have a blacktop driveway, the first thing I would do is have your driveway sealed. It's a quick few $100 deal, and it gives you that curb value. When they pull up for the, you got your sign in the yard and you got listings, then they pull up to the driveway and they see this fresh black asphalt. That's a lot of times. And if you have gravel, get it coated. Get your gravel, fresh looking.
Yep.
The other thing, so that's stuff like that, stuff like cleaning out your flower beds,
Curb appeal stuff
that will
make the house look good.
instant make them go, oh, this is a nice looking house. As far as like projects that you're going to invest into, I learned from an old fella. He told me he was a contractor and a realtor. He told me people buy kitchens with houses attached to them.
Yes. That's so true.
People buy bathrooms with houses attached to them.
That's like the biggest thing people look at, kitchens and bathrooms.
I think I could add a third part to that statement. Nowadays, people buy finished basements with first and second floors.
That is a very, very good point.
We talked about a little bit before.
Yeah. So, obviously, that was in ascending order of your investment.
Yeah.
Your bathroom or your kitchen and your bathroom, they're pretty close in cost, but those are $12,000 to $15,000 investments depending on what you're doing. But if you walk into a house, let's say this house without the changes made to a kitchen appraised at $250,000. If that house gets a brand new kitchen, my guess, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, my guess is that $15,000 investment in your kitchen, now that $250,000 house, I bet would be 280.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
Well, so I always like to tell people that the kitchen can make or break a house.
Yeah.
That's something that I found is very, very common, at least nowadays. Whenever I'm out showing a house or whenever I'm on a listing appointment with a potential seller, right? Because they're always asking what they can do to improve the value.
Right.
Yep. But I strongly, I mean, I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah. I think, bedrooms, if you're trying to do what you can to increase some value, if the flooring in the rooms is old, yes, fix them. But if there's not really anything wrong with them, don't paint your bedrooms either. Because I'm going to tell you what, I've bought a house, I've sold a house, I've built a house, and I know that when you walk into a house that you are thinking about buying, you're going to walk into a bedroom, no matter what color it is, you're going to say, oh yeah, we could paint this bedroom X.
Yep.
Don't paint your bedrooms before you sell. If you're going to paint them all the same color, paint them in off-white. Make it really easy for the next person.
Very neutral color.
Yeah, very neutral, like your grays, your whites.
A lot of people like those
Don't pick
colors
a
too.
color.
So
Yeah, and everything matches with them.
yeah.
But let's say you're in a house where some things need to be done.
Yeah.
You got a 25-year-old roof, and it's kind of rough, and you think when that home inspector when the appraiser comes in, or the home inspector, they come in, are they going to call me on that roof? If you think that's probably going to happen, you get a hold of a contractor, tell them how much time do you think a home inspector would give me on this, and if they say 5 years or less, you probably ought to put your money in that. It's not glamorous, but that could make or break the deal.
All without a doubt. I mean,
It might not make or break it when they're looking at the house, but you would rather find out then. You'd rather walk up and say, oh, brand new roof, rather than, oh, I like this, oh, the roof, whatever, I didn't really even look. Then the home inspector says, yeah, that roof needs to be replaced, and the bank says, oh yeah, we won't finance your loan because you have a very old roof.
Well, yeah, no, and as far as the inspection goes, I mean, I think that's by far the most common. If people see water intrusion, the vast majority of people get turned off by the idea.
Yeah. Absolutely, as would I.
Well, yeah, as would anybody. I mean, that's a big no-no.
Yeah.
So looking into getting a new roof, I think is definitely, and it's something that you could definitely. Everything's negotiable in a real estate transaction, right? So if you're in the middle of a deal and you want to, and I've had it done before. I did 2 at the beginning of this year where they had to get new roofs or repairs done to roofs or stuff like that. And by the way, from a seller's perspective, don't ever tell them that you did the repairs yourself. It's always a good idea to get a professional in there to do it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's, water intrusion is definitely up there, if not the most common.
Yeah.
Most common.
Water, when people see water, what do they immediately think?
Mold.
There's mold in here somewhere.
Yep. Black
that's
mold.
what I think. But I'd say, yeah, you get with a contractor, even if it's like a, you just meet with them and you ask them for advice or their opinions. A lot of contractors will come out there, especially if you know them already.
Right.
Or they might have a small fee to just come out and give you their opinion, their professional opinion. And, you come out, you make sure if your HVAC is very early to mid 20th century, you probably ought to put your money into that.
Yeah.
If your electric is knob and tube, it's really old, and you feel like, yeah, this is definitely going to fail inspection, put your money into that.
Yep.
Don't put all your money into the pretty stuff unless the important things for the functionality of the house are up to date.
Yeah.
Once you're there, then we're back to that first scenario we were talking about, where get your kitchen, get your bathroom, get your basement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Outside wise, get a deck, patio, cover, gazebo, something.
Yeah.
Something that you walk out and that's the first thing people look at.
Yeah.
Don't make it to where the only thing they walk out and see is grass. Have something that people walk out onto that back porch or wherever and they go, oh, we could have people out here.
Yes.
Especially for, if you're in a neighborhood where you think younger people, maybe first-time home buyers, are going to be buying from you. You're wanting to move and move up into your next level of house or whatever. And you say, okay, somebody who was in my position 5 years ago is going to be buying this house. they're probably going to want to have somewhere where they can host and show people their new house that that they bought and they're proud of. Have somewhere for people to congregate inside and outside. Kitchen on the inside.
Yep.
And they're not going to congregate in the bathroom, but
no,
they're going to use it.
Yeah.
And outside, a deck, a patio, something like that.
Absolutely. Well, and that's something else that I wanted to touch on too, because I mean, from what I understand, you do a lot of decks.
Yeah.
You build a lot of decks. I mean, obviously, carpenters, right? Boyd Home Remodeling, they're mainly carpenters as it is. Who's responsible for the permits? I mean, obviously, some counties are a little more strict than others.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, as far as permits are concerned, who handles that side of things?
So most counties in Ohio, you can have a contractor pull a permit for you.
Yeah.
If a contractor will pull a permit for you, that should be, I want to be clear on this, it's not a red flag if a contractor won't pull a permit for you. For the first few years that I operated, I didn't pull permits for homeowners. I had them pull a homeowner's permit and I did the work. Nowadays I do pull permits for homeowners because we've been doing this for 6.5 years now. So we kind of got the ball rolling now. You want to talk to your contractor and ask them, do you pull permits for us? Because, there's not anything crazy. They can be anybody can pull a permit for you as a contractor in Ohio. In Kentucky, it's a little different. You have to have a lot of licenses. But if a contractor does say, yes, we pull permits for homeowners, that's a big green flag because that means they're putting their name on that permit.
Right.
So that's a big deal. And contractors will include that in their price. They will include in their price the price of the permit, the time that it takes them to do all that stuff, whatever. It's all part of the bid. So yeah, we do that. We pull the permits for homeowners. A lot of work I do right now is in Miami Township, which is in Claremont County.
Yeah.
We don't pull permits through the county. We pull the permits through the township, which is weird because usually, let's say I drove 10 minutes down the road to Goshen from Miami Township, I would be pulling a permit through the county.
Right.
Or if I drove over to Batavia, I'd be pulling a permit through the county. But in that little zone. And there's townships like that in every county. So, if you really wanted to get specific, yeah, I would pull a permit through the township. I would pull a permit through the county.
Yeah.
Where do you stop? If you pull a permit through your township, generally their regulations, their code, or not necessarily their code, but what they're looking for in their jobs is more strict than the county that they're in. So
interesting.
If it works in the township, it's probably going to work in the county. But yeah, the short answer is the homeowner can pull the permit. Some contractors might have a little bit of a markup for their trouble. So if the homeowner feels like in their gut they can save a couple dollars by pulling their own permit, that's fine.
Right.
But like I said, we pull permits if the homeowner wants us to. If we're doing like a really small project, we're going to kind of have a talk. Like, should we even pull a permit for this? And if we kind of say, you know what, common sense says, let's keep the governing bodies out of this.
Yeah.
Then,
as anybody would.
by golly, I would keep the governing bodies out of it.
Yeah.
It's not going to change our quality of work just because there's a permit tag on the front. It's still going to be good work no matter what we do.
Yeah.
So, like, if I'm fixing something inside someone's home, 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, should we pull a permit for it? And I'm going to say, yeah, but we certainly don't need to if you don't want to.
Right.
And most of the time, 99 times out of 100, the homeowner's going to say, yeah, I don't want anybody past a contractor walking in my house.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
But
so
if you don't trust your contractor,
right.
get a permit.
Yeah.
Travis,
Yeah,
you've built your own home,
I did.
right? So tell us about that. How long did it take? It took forever.
Yeah, it took forever.
I remember
a lot longer than I
remember
wanted.
on the job site we were messing with them all the time about how long it was taking. But tell us a little bit about your experience building your home. How'd that go?
That was the first home I ever built.
You did a pretty good job too. It looks beautiful.
It looks nice.
It.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Barn dough.
It's a barn dominium, which I didn't think was a proper term, but the home appraiser came out, and when it said style of home, it said barn dominium.
Yeah.
Up until then, I thought it was a 2-story post frame house with metal roof and metal siding, but I guess that is now a technical term.
Very popular nowadays.
Yeah,
from what I
they're
hear.
a beautiful house, and I don't like the name, but I like the style of house.
Yeah.
So we bought the land, and we didn't know what we were going to do, but we knew, hey, we got the land. So we started running utilities out like you would. And I just started drawing up different, house ideas, different floor plans, different styles, whatever. But I'd never looked on the internet for like barndominium ideas.
Yeah.
I knew what they were. And I was like, that sounds like a really cool idea. Mm-hmm. And I had seen some pictures in the past, but I made sure that my wife and we sat down, and I was like, let's just draw something up.
Right.
I don't want to get any inspiration, any ideas. Let's just draw this up based on our life and what we think our future is going to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we drew it up. We took it to an architect or a structural engineer and had him kind of tailor fit some things to that style of house. And we got the prints. And we started building. We subcontracted some very early on. We had the post frame shell of the barn built. We had an Amish crew come out just because of time. Mm-hmm. So Boyd Home Remodeling is still part-time.
Yeah.
A lot of the work that we do is...
I wouldn't say you're part-time. You put in
there's a lot of hours.
You probably put in more hours. Like when you were building that house, I remember you would you'd get off work, you would go straight work on the house from 2:30 to 10.
Yeah.
Barely getting any sleep, and then you come to work the next day looking like a mess.
Yeah, I would for 16 straight months. But yeah, so we had to subcontract some stuff out early, and so we got that part done, trusses set, metal on, and from there we had to go inside, and not to go too far into detail, but with a post frame structure, imagine a barn, mm-hmm. like your typical unfinished barn that you just store stuff in, and then you literally build a home inside of it,
right?
Independent of that barn. There's obviously, it's all tied together in the end because of our style of building, but you're building all of these interior walls, and you're building your load-bearing walls, and even your perimeter walls, mm-hmm. independent of the posts and the purlins of the barn. So we went in and built a house within the house,
right?
And so we spent, I don't even want to go into the time it spent per trade or, per part.
Long time.
But yeah, once the Amish left, I had a guy come in and I helped him because I was at the time new to plumbing. He was a licensed plumber.
Yeah.
And he led the charge on that. He drew up all my plumbing drawings. And
it was me.
So shout out
praying.
Micah, if you're watching this, thank you. And we got that plumbing done. I couldn't have done that correctly without him. I could have done it, but it would have been wrong.
Oh yeah, it would have.
So
I've seen this guy's plumbing.
Yeah. So thanks to him for that. After he was done, it was me and my dad every night. The total from the time the first post went into the ground to the time that we got our certificate of occupancy was from October 18th of 21 to February 10th, my wife's birthday, 2023.
Wow.
See, that's what I thought, because I remember we were on the job together and you were talking about it.
Which was, almost 16 months, just to be short of it.
Because me and James were discussing it earlier, like, when did he finish that? Because we were like,
February.
maybe last November, but I knew it was around February because we were on the same job, and I remember when you finished it.
No.
You did a surprise, didn't you, for your wife or something like that?
No, it was... There was way too many surprises by the point done that I was tired of surprises. I did call, she didn't know this, but I did call the county a day earlier to have them see if they could print off their certificate or send it over to me a day earlier so that we could do that on her birthday.
Yeah.
But she kind of knew it was coming at that point. But shoot, when we started building, let me get this right. When we started building, we had our second child. She had just been born. She was probably 4 months old. And then we had our third kid before it was done.
Wow.
So
We had 2 kids in the process of this.
One that, was, what's the proper way to say this about a baby? Doesn't do anything to doing stuff. And now we've got another one that doesn't do anything. And now he's doing stuff now too. So it was a long process, and I didn't have any gray in my beard before we started.
Oh yeah, look at this.
I did afterwards. So
He's 34 years old.
yeah, yeah.
That was a big joke because his birthday's the day after mine, and he kept telling me, "Oh, I'm 34 years old," and that went on for so long.
Yeah, I probably had him convinced for probably a month that I was turning 34 on my birthday, and I was turning 28. So I had to tell him on my birthday.
Gray in the beard.
I was like, I can't hold this from me any longer.
34 years old. He was turning 35.
But yeah, it was.
Looks like he's 35.
It was a fun experience. I don't want to say yes or no to whether or not we'll be building any more homes in the future.
Yeah.
So when are you ready for me to sell that thing? When you ready for me to
Yeah, you need an agent?
I got to get past capital gains on that, don't I? But no, I have a feeling that the wife is going to put her foot down if I ever choose to.
I'll talk to her.
If I ever want to sell, which I probably mentioned selling the house, I don't know, once a week. And she pretty much ex-nays that every time. So
You can build a bigger house.
I'm going to be there for a while.
He's got to listen to the boss, is what he's saying.
Yeah.
He's
So
gotta
I'm
listen
going to have to wait until she has like knee problems or something and she doesn't want to climb up the steps.
Yeah.
Then I'll say, hey, let's
build a
You can get yourself
ranch
one
house.
of No. You got to get yourself one of those chairs that go up the railing, right?
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, it would hold it because I built those steps.
You built those steps.
So it'll hold it. They're ugly, but they'll work. No. The steps actually are one of my favorite part of the house. So we're gonna be staining them here in the spring. By the time we moved in and got settled in, and I got some of the more urgent, touch-up items, trim and stuff done. It was starting to get cold, and I was like, well, we're just going to wait until the spring when it's warming up and I can open up all the windows and stain the steps, because that's been the plan since the beginning. And once I stain those, oh my gosh, that's probably going to be my favorite thing about the house, is just we built the steps, they go up, they turn at a landing, they go up 90 degrees from there, and there's a big, you've seen it, the big handrail, dark stained wood. So I think that part of the house was kind of that thing that I had envisioned. I was like, I don't know really what I want, but I know that I want to be up on the second floor and I want to look over this balcony, and we just kind of drew it up like that. But until I actually built the floor for the second floor and, in the end put that handrail on, I was like, oh crap, this is what I wanted. It's so cool to see. I think that's probably my favorite thing about building in general.
Yeah.
When it's done, I look back and I go, oh man, that worked. That looks really good. And
Besides when he's doing plumbing.
Yeah, no, not plumbing.
He looks
That's
back
why I
at it and
sub it out.
wow, it
Yeah.
looks disgusting.
It looks great.
Unless I'm doing it.
Looks great if I close my eyes. That's why I sub it out.
Well, I think one of the funniest parts about that whole 16-month period. So I got to see it once when. Oh man, I got to see it once when there weren't even any stairs. It was just a ladder. He just had a ladder going up to the second level.
Yeah.
And then one of the first things that you put in there was that wood burning stove.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a must for you. I
Still use it every day.
Yeah. Well, I heard it's pretty efficient.
I would say in the cold days of the year, our furnace probably kicks on 3 or 4 times a day, because my wife, she's a champ, dude. I bring in wood in the evenings, and sometimes I don't, and she does it, and I get told about that sometimes. But she gets the fires going in the morning, because I'm long gone for work, and she wakes up with the kids, and she somehow breaks away from the kids for long enough to get a fire going, and she feeds that fire going all day. I'll come home, and it's like I'm layered up,
nice and
I
toasty.
walk in the house, and it's like 73, and I'm like, oh, God, let's let that fire die out a little bit. So she crushes it, man, but that's such a big money saver.
Oh
It's
man,
such
well,
a money saver.
I didn't realize it. No, I didn't realize that until recently. Actually, it's because we were helping Dan, and I didn't start looking into it until
Gosh, that
just
was heavy.
I could. Oh, it was heavy, but I
Built
couldn't.
like 1990.
I couldn't believe. Well, he's got. I think what was the specs on that? It was like 80,000 BTU. And if you don't know anything about like any kind of HVAC, anything, it'll heat up. I mean, you're talking about 80,000. Well, I mean, I have one back home, right? And it's a wall unit, right? And I think that one was probably, I want to say it was 12. It was like 12 to 15,000 BTU, which is good enough for about 800 square feet or so.
It'd be about the equivalent of like a 1-ton furnace.
Yeah.
And like, 800 square foot. Yeah, it'll probably,
right.
It'll do its job on that.
Well, here's the thing. It's just a wall unit though, and it's electric. But the wood burning furnaces, I didn't realize it until recently. Those things are incredibly efficient at heating a house. Yeah. And again, we're talking about 80. They last forever, and we're talking about 80,000 BTU. Right. That is a massive space that you're able to heat with just wood.
We were loading that thing in there, and oh my gosh, that thing was so heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, it had to be 700 pounds plus.
It was.
That thing was heavy. Me and James were picking it up, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
It's all steel.
Yeah.
And
it's
like
American made.
I thought it was brand new the way it looked. I thought he just bought it from Home Depot or something. The way how it looked and the condition it was in. No, 1990.
Yeah.
They make those things to last.
Yeah, they do. And they kind of have to, because that really should be a one-time purchase for a home, is a wood-burning stove. The only reason you should ever have to change your your wood burner is if you just want one that looks a little different.
Yeah.
Or you put an addition on your home, now you have more square footage. A lot of times you'll look at these wood burners and they'll say, like, this is a 1,200 square foot, or this is a 1,500 square foot. There's BTUs that go into it when you start involving like blower motors and stuff to see like if you're forcing that air into places. But if you just have a freestanding wood burner, you kind of read and see, okay, well, how big is my house? That wood burner is, I think, an 1,800 square foot, quote unquote, wood burning stove. But we've got 2,750 square feet of finished living space, and all I do is I turn the furnace, the blower fan for my furnace on, and so it's pulling the air through the house and blowing it through the ducts. Right. But it's blowing that hot air from the wood burner. Just because of how my layout is structured, it pulls the air very, very smoothly, and it blows through the ducts. Mm-hmm. Wood burning stove air is a very dry air. Right. And so but it's a very comfortable air. Obviously, fire, it's drying out the air.
It's like a sauna.
But it's kind of the opposite, really. Right. It's pulling all of that condensation out of the air, and so it's just, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people that have them will say this, it's the most comfortable heat that you can have, because not only is it efficient in the sense that it's also dry, and it's constantly moving if you keep it moving. But it also kind of just that feeling of having a fireplace going. Right. Just something about that kind of gives you 2 extra degrees of warmth in your head. Yep. And it's just nice, man. I will always have one for sure.
One thing we didn't touch on your merch.
Oh yeah, look at this.
Look at these. Look at this.
Gosh.
Boyd Home Remodeling.
I guess
we waited weeks. We waited weeks because we're like, we want to wear these on the podcast.
Well,
look how sweet these
we
look.
waited a few weeks because I got it from one of the best guys.
Yes.
Who'd you get it from? Shane Jones at Fresh Rags. They're out of Batavia. Look him up. He is awesome. They do screen printing, embroidery. I got some Carhartt beanies. I've got...
He won't give me one.
I won't give him one. They're all mine. I got quarter zips. He does hoodies, jackets, shirts, regular ball caps. He does it all. He's the best. So, Shane, thank you. And if you guys that are watching this have any kind of merch that you want to buy, Shane Jones, Fresh Rags, he's the best.
Shane, you did a good job.
Also, we're sponsored by Monster.
Yes.
Not yet, but we will be.
No free ads.
Monster, please sponsor us. We really need it.
I'll turn this around if you sponsor us.
Yes. Once you sponsor us, we'll turn this around.
Yes.
Travis, I got a question for you.
Okay.
So earlier I mentioned about how I had those 2 deals with the roof problems.
Yeah.
So real quick, the way that we kind of structured those deals, we all worked the repairs into the financing. So essentially, basically what we did is we got a general contractor out there to give us a quote on both roofs. Both transactions went the exact same. We got this was mid-deal, post-inspections. We got a contractor out there to see how much it would cost to replace each roof, right? So basically what we did is we got that quote and we were able to, the sellers were able to put the proceeds from the sale into an escrow account and essentially pay those contractors post-closing.
Okay.
Right. Or well, more so at closing. Well, it kind of depends if they want the repairs. If they want the repairs done prior to, obviously they'll get paid beforehand.
Right.
But post closing, obviously they'll get paid afterwards. So that money for the repairs for the quote get put into that escrow account, and then those that money gets paid directly to the contractors for whatever work that they're doing.
Yeah.
Have you ever done any deals like that for starters? And I mean, is Boyd Home Remodeling even open to anything like that?
We haven't done specifically, escrow transfer deals on sale. We haven't done any of those. A lot of my customers, especially in the last couple of years, they've been in. It's a lot of word of mouth, a lot of Facebook marketing, but a lot of word of mouth, and they've been kind of what we were talking on earlier. They're preparing to sell.
Right.
They're wanting to either that or they're wanting to enjoy their home more, so they're doing these projects. We are going to be 2024. I think is going to be a pretty good year for Boyd Home Remodeling.
Oh yeah,
we
all
are
around.
hoping to expand. We're hoping to increase the number of projects that we do. So we might be looking into projects like that. Getting in touch. Getting a hold of some real estate agents that I might find on the side of the road.
Maybe.
That's usually where I hang out on the side of the road.
I live in a box.
And we'll see if we can't work out some deals like that, because I think deals like that make it easier for everybody, because you're kind of just adding in the contractor to what some people might perceive as a complicated ordeal.
Yeah.
It's really not, because your agents handle
Exactly.
a lot of those issues, and you're just allowing your agent to do a little bit more for you, to get that sale done.
Right.
But in the process, you're also getting things done to a house that you like and you wish you liked a little more, that needs some love, some fixing, and they get that just thrown into the deal. Contractor knocks it out, you move in, and I'm in on that.
Yeah.
Especially the more we grow and the closer that we get to. You've heard me talk about getting that boat close to the dock before you jump. Someday we might go full time. We'll see how that goes. I like to get, with the analogy of getting the boat close to the dock, meaning like, I take chances, but I like to have my full time job.
The backup, yeah.
I like to have this. I would like to have this get to a point where I say, oh my gosh, I have to do this full time,
Right.
or it's just going to start losing me money. At that point, I will. But when I get to that point, that's going to be a regular thing.
Right.
When my dad ran Boyd Home Remodeling, it was a separate company, completely separate. But he ran a company called Boyd Home Remodeling. When he was younger, he did a lot of those. He would do, these escrow deals where the bank would contact him, the agent would contact him and say, hey, they're trying to sell this house, but they need this fixed. That's what he would do a lot of.
Yeah.
I haven't jumped into that as much, but that's a good thing. That's a good thing to have a good contractor on your team.
Absolutely.
To close out deals like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've texted you before, like, this come up in the inspection report. What can they do?
Yeah.
What are some options here? And you text me
A lot
that. I
of
can tell
times
me.
it's a simple answer.
Yeah, simple answer. Just do that. Easy.
Yeah.
That's not going to affect the deal at all. Don't have to worry about it. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think. That's going back to the to the escrow closings, right? Putting the proceeds into escrow there. I mean, the process itself isn't complicated. Right. Like you said, I mean, and a lot of people just see it as an extra step, which, I mean, really in the grand scheme of things, from a seller's point of view, they don't really have to do anything in the moment, right? It's just as simple as getting a contractor out there to take a look to see how much it's going to be to get that quote. And again, it's probably most likely, not 100% of the time, but most likely it's going to be post inspections. where they, the inspector sees that there's some issues here and there, might need, it's an old roof, needs replaced.
Yeah.
All you got to do is just get a contractor in there to get you a quote for repair. And then it's as simple as writing that into the defect notice that Wyatt, me and you kind of touched on last episode.
Episode 2, go watch it.
Yes, episode 2.
I watched it. You should too.
Episode 2. We do touch on home inspections there. Always get a home inspection. Always get a professional.
And always contact us.
And always contact us by our Advantage program.
So, Travis.
Instant priority access. Instant priority access.
So, Travis, really want to thank you for coming on here. It was a lot of fun. It's been a really good episode. I'm excited to watch it after all the editing gets done. But, do you have any final last words? Shout out your Facebook, all that stuff.
Yeah.
He does have a Facebook page.
513-709-9617.
Is that your phone number?
Yes. That's
call him anytime.
We will
call
put,
him, especially at 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
He loves those phone calls.
The wee hours. We'll put all the contact info in the description if you guys want to reach out. It does fantastic work.
But yeah, follow. I would, if whoever's watching, if you want to see what we do, we are on Facebook. We are new-ish to Instagram, so that audience is still growing. But it's just Boyd Home Remodeling on both Facebook and Instagram. And we do all kind of stuff. Like we talked about, it's general contracting, but we're carpenters. We build decks, fences, roofs, small home additions, larger maybe in the future. We finished bathrooms.
Building homes, maybe. D.R. Horton level.
Bathrooms, basements, kitchens, you name it. We can do everything from small drywall repair to, complete structural repair on your home. So we can do it all, man.
Awesome. Well, Travis, I really appreciate you coming on here. It's been a great episode. And James, you got any last words?
Not much. I do, however, this is something that we kind of talked about. I do, because I have some stories of my own, right? I want to see if you have any stories of note, any funny stories from the past that you that pops in your head every now and then, like, oh, I can't believe that happened, right? Like stuff like that. Funny stories. What you got?
There was, I would say it's a little more crazy than funny. I could tell you the story I was telling you earlier about the guys that were using my rusty trash bucket to cook corn on one of my jobs, and it was wild. They asked me if I wanted corn. I said, of course not. I don't want the corn that you just picked out of my field.
Yummy.
And cooked in my rusty bucket that I know what's been in that bucket, and you shouldn't have cooked out of it. I would say another crazy story is we went into this house, and it was an old couple, and the wife was complaining about how cold her room was. So we go in and we're like investigating the room, and the house, let's say it's on 68 degrees. We walk into this room, it is 40 degrees in there. Ooh. And I went, okay, this is way more than, your ductwork is blocked up, or, you have some issue with airflow for your forced air unit.
Insulation problem.
This is, I bet I can see outside somewhere. So we're moving furniture and we're moving stuff. There's a gap in the back corner of the room, which was also the back corner of the house, that had probably sagged 5 to 6 inches.
Oh.
And so you saw the bottom of the wall, and then the floor was like this, 5-6 inches down. Plain as day, I could see their backyard, and I went, oh my gosh. She was 81 years old.
Oh.
Sleeping in this room. So we had to we had to get under the house. We had to pour like a small, call it a footer, and we had to jack that corner of the house up nice and slow. It didn't sag in 5 minutes, so you can't raise it up in 5 minutes. Kind of jack it up a little bit at a time. We got it up, got it back to a working level. You'll never get it back to where it's slammed back up, but you can get it to where you can then build off of it and work with it. Mm-hmm. We got it all fixed up, and obviously, seal it up, and instantly the room is 68 degrees like the rest of the house.
Wow.
But just to walk in some places where people will just let things go.
Yeah.
And turns out we were able to fix their problem in one day.
Wow.
And so, yeah, you have issues like that, man. Address them quick, because that's that much longer. You don't have to have an inconvenience like that. I would call that more than an inconvenience at her age.
Oh, definitely.
So yeah, that was one of the wild things that I walked in and went, oh my gosh.
Wow.
I couldn't imagine. So yeah.
No one wants to be sleeping in a 40-degree house. So.
No,
Yeah.
but the corn story, that's probably my funny.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That one was a little wild. But you come in, you see all kinds in this trade.
Yeah.
That I will not. That's not the last of crazy stories that I will say. I'll make sure to keep you updated on that.
Oh, please do. Please do. Please do.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up. We want to thank everybody for tuning in today, episode 3. Please reach out to Travis if you need any kind of general contracting work. I mean, he does it all. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please feel free to leave comments, questions, concerns, anything like that in the description. And we'll also link our email down below. And don't forget to follow our TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram and other forms of social media there. So thanks again. You guys have a good day. We'll see you.
See ya.